Hi folks, welcome to today's color process video. Right, today's comic is a good example of where I often try to go for colors that are more interesting than they are necessarily realistic. Um, if you watch this from the very beginning, as I'm talking right now, up to the end, you'll see that originally the footpath was going to have a more kind of grayish kind of color. The sky and sea, that was going to be just standard kind of blue. And that was fine, but as I continued working on it, just something about those colors just weren't clicking for me. So I just started toying around with things until I got a combination that I liked. And what was it that I first did? Um, yeah, it was the footpath and the wall, I believe. I changed them to more of a red kind of hue because one problem I was running into was that the girl's color scheme, where I gave her the blue hair, um, that obviously wasn't contrasting very well against the blue of the sea in the background, and also I felt the rest of her didn't stand out well enough from the footpath and the wall. So yeah, me changing the wall and the path to the colors you see in the final piece. That's basically just my attempt to make her stand out more, but also go for a pleasing, go for pleasing looking colors. The sea, yeah, I went through various iterations until I finally hit upon what I went with in the final comic. I mean, obviously, I started off with blue. I then kind of went more for a green, and briefly I was going for kind of like a pink kind of color. And then just there was something about it that wasn't working for me. I felt that uh, just as there wasn't enough, I felt there wasn't enough contrast between the girl and the the footpath and the wall. I also felt there wasn't enough contrast between the footpath and the wall and the color of the sea. Like there was too much red going on in the image, I felt. So going for more of a yellow kind of color to the sea just made it contrast more, and I felt it just looked nice. Like I wanted this piece to have, like this comic to have the feel of taking place during a sunny day, and yeah, well, I hope it kind of comes off that way. Um, like one thing I'm noticing is that may be ruined by the fact that the way I've rendered the sea and the sky is mostly just white, which gives the impression of like mist or clouds. But yeah, in the end, I think there is kind of a more of a sunny atmosphere to this comic than the opposite. Speaking of the sea, that's an interesting thing to talk about because it really shows how you can do more with less. Because if you look at the original line art, all that I drew for that background was the pier, the promenade in the like that you see in the background, and then it was just a simple matter of filling in some color behind that. So I just did a gradient from my chosen color to white, and it's just a very quick, easy way to evoke the sea without having to throw a lot of detail in there. And that's kind of the magic of coloring, that, and art in general, that you can get away with stuff like that. And if you can get away with it, do it. Like, I mean, not every background has to be a masterpiece. So long as you get across the setting in the reader's mind, that's all that matters. I feel. Not that I'm making excuses, for choosing the simplest way to go about things, but you know, the old adage "less is more" does exist for a reason, and I will admit that is very much inspired by the work of Mike Mignola, who, if you look at any of his scenes where characters are standing on a shore in Hellboy, like he's working Hellboy. If you look at any scenes where characters are like standing on a shore or by a body of water, what you'll often see is that the shore has been drawn in, but then like the expanse of water, there's nothing. It's blank. But that negative space can get across uh, the image of a body of water without having to do anything. You don't have, without rendering in any like ripples, waves, anything like that. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Being able to get across that type of thing that way. And I'm kind of rambling here, so I'll stop. But obviously, it's a technique I really like, and that coupled with color, I think can go together really well. And yeah, like this is, I think it's actually one of my most pleasing looking comics in a while, color wise. Just there's something about it. It just, yeah, everything about this one clicks for me, and I'm really happy with this one. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you at the next video. Take care.